three filmmakers with nothing in common. They thought they had it all figured out. They don't just follow the movies, they make them. Alexander Pavlak, Mario Silvas, and Jamal Alexander are the makers on film.
I feel like an idiot sometimes.
Oh, that's
very clear.
No, I was talking about my phone. Shut your goddamn face hole.
Jamal?
Is he dead?
I don't know. We lost him.
Jamal? I can hear you eating.
Can you hear me, Mario?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me eating?
Hey, get the cock out of your mouth.
That was mean.
Oh, really?
I was just watching. You've heard of the TV show Archer, right? The cartoon with H. John Benjamin.
Who?
But you don't know who H. John Benjamin is?
You used to watch it at the lab. Of course I know who it is.
Okay, so the creators of Archer, before Archer, did a cartoon on Cartoon Network on the Adult Swim called Frisky Dingo.
Yeah.
Okay, so Frisky Dingo has Xander Cruz, who is the superhero Awesome X.
Yes.
And he has a fighting force called the Xtacles.
Yes.
Did you know that they did a couple of Xtacle standalone cartoons?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, the 2 episodes, I guess, and I finally found them on the internet.
Apparently nobody liked them.
Really?
Yeah, people hated them.
It's not as good as Frisky Dingo, but it's all the same banter that the Xtacles did in the background of all the episodes they were in.
See, my thought was it's exactly like the little yellow fuckers, what are the minions.
Yeah.
I was like, it's those guys all over again, but except this time you can understand them. And so you can actually enjoy what they're saying and all that bull crap that they have to go through every day.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool. I only got like halfway through the 2nd episode, and then I saw you guys were online. But
Oh, okay.
But they were talking about Rape Ape, so it's a good episode.
Oh, goddamn, I forgot about Rape Ape. That was a good one. Yeah, because they showed those on Cartoon Network once.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, there's only 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, because they showed the first episode, showed the second episode. It was like the next week, and then just done.
That's a shame. But if it wasn't for that, we probably never would have Archer, which is far superior.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it's who else they... Oh my god, I just found a cat that looks like a little angry vampire. It's really fucking adorable.
Have you ever been to Kittler.com?
Yes. That was in the day of like E-Bombs World and everything.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But it still exists, and people are still submitting their cats that look like Hitler.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Kittler.com. Let's see. Oh, it's not there anymore.
Aw.
Unless it changed domain. No, Kittler is gone.
Aw. I thought it was still there.
Let's just Google search Kittler. Oh, it is now cats that look like Hitler.com.
Oh, okay. Jamal, you're with us?
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, good lord, dude, you all right?
I'm powering through this. I'm coming down with the flu.
Jesus Christ!
God.
That bad, huh?
Oh, dude, it doesn't sound pleasant at all.
It sounds like you're coming down with throat cancer.
Yeah.
Don't say stuff like that. I used to smoke.
Well, did you stop smoking?
Yes.
Okay.
Fine then.
Yeah. How long ago did you stop smoking?
About a year.
Okay. Well, you got 6 years left, and then apparently the body is just like your credit score, and every 6 years shit falls off of it, or every 7 years it is.
I
Hopefully.
just want to let everyone know that's complete bullshit. That's not how it works.
No, it is. The body cells regenerate about every 7 years. So any damage that you do, it doesn't repair itself, but it lessens the chance of you contracting like a major disease like cancer. Add that with like, eating better, exercising, blah, 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 blah. It starts to reduce your risk.
7 years? I thought it was 48 hours.
Yeah, okay, Wolverine. Yeah, sure, 48 hours.
Well, I know if you burn your tongue or anything like that, your tongue will regrow everything back in 48 hours. What?
I don't
I heard that. I heard that exhale.
know.
Fucker.
It's called breathing.
I felt that exhale.
Well, okay, whatever you want to believe.
You're a bitch. Alright, well, let's get this over with so Jamal can get some sleep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or fucking Robitussin or something.
Okay, so you guys both watched Rubber then, correct?
Yes.
I watched Rubber.
Okay, so first let's do the intros. I'm Alexander. I'm the resident writer director here on MOF.Ninja. No. On Makers on Film. MOF.Ninja is the website. And then
Yep.
with us is Mario, who is our resident sound guy and somewhat of a cinematographer.
Eh.
And then also with us is our resident actor, Jamal.
Yo.
Dude, seriously, alright, we're doing this fast.
Okay.
Okay.
So I chose Rubber because one day somebody came over and said, "Hey, you have to watch this film," and we watched it, and it was just I didn't know what to make of it. I can't say that it was horrible. I just didn't know what to make of it at the time. So I've always wanted to go back and rewatch it. So when you suggested doing things that were like inanimate objects attacking people, I thought this would be a great time to rewatch Rubber, which is a story about a tire that somehow becomes self-aware or somehow becomes, alive and gains psychokinetic or psychokinesis powers, depending on which character in the movie you side with, and rolls around killing people. And then in its off time, watches TV, specifically NASCAR.
It watched the Luau one time.
It watched Luau, and then the next time you see it, he's watching NASCAR, which I'm not sure if that's something that a tire would watch because they kind of abuse those tires on NASCAR. But on the other hand, maybe it's like a horse race or a
Did somebody
but
bring
that
up the aerobics that were being done?
Oh, that's right. It kept
aerobics.
the girl up next door with it.
Yeah,
Because that was the thing playing in the end credits.
yeah. He was watching
Yeah.
the step aerobics. That's right.
Yeah. Actually, it was funny. I was reading on the page, the IMDb page, because unfortunately I never saw this movie in the theaters, but I saw it like just after it came out in the theaters.
Uh-huh.
At the old place that Alex and I actually used to work at, the old film lab, and who was it? Some other friends. We all watched it, and the beginning credits that we saw. I'm not too sure where you guys watch it, but I watched it on Netflix again.
Mm-hmm.
This past week, and the first time I saw it, it was actually a different opening credit, and the reason was apparently that the opening credits for the theaters was supposed to be a profile of the sheriff, and then the one on Netflix that I watched recently, it was an actual like front. It was almost like a 3/4 shot on him,
Mm-hmm.
while he's like explaining, this doesn't matter, and he's dumping out the water and everything like that. So
Yeah.
it kind of threw me off guard that there were two different, same shot but two different angles. So it really messed with me for a second.
Interesting. Yeah, because they showed a little bit of that in the end credits where they're They still had that profile shot of the sheriff, but it was in the end credits.
Yes.
Yeah, but so
Well,
what?
it was the same scene, or it was the same shot,
Yeah,
but it was just at a different angle. Yeah, that's all it was.
So speaking of shot, by the way, just going into the technical part of this, you know that was shot on a Canon D5.
5D.
5D. Yeah, I'm sorry.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, it really had that DSLR feel to it.
Oh, definitely.
It had those super shallow depths of field, and it was like, I don't know. When we first started working together, Alex, everything we shot was digital.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we really had access to. Um, I mean, honestly, that's what the industry is going anyway. And the opening shot when the sheriff is getting out of his car and he walks up toward the car,
Mm-hmm.
that looked like so many shots that you and I have done. And not just the way it looked, but the way it felt. It was very washed out, but very colorful, and it just looked over processed. And my first thought was this had to be shot on a DSLR. I was like, there's no other way that this could have been shot other than a DSLR.
No, and yeah, the whole thing was actually shot very beautifully. It looked amazing. And when you start seeing this, you think it's going to be like a real film. And then all of a sudden the sheriff pops out of the trunk of his car. And it's like, there is this weird juxtaposition of how it looks and what you actually see and what you're looking at that makes it so surreal. But
Yeah.
the cinematography on this thing was just it was actually pretty amazing.
I know they did a really great job on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I was looking at the credits on everybody. I mean, everybody now has a very prolific career in
As
the
far
industry.
as the crew goes.
Yeah, as far as the crew goes, everybody's doing bigger and better things. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rubber was good. I actually really enjoyed Rubber. But they're off doing bigger and better things. The DP is doing well for himself. The sound mixer, um, the CG, and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to get their names out there more and more so. And then the director, I mean, he just kind of, I couldn't really tell where the name really comes from.
His name?
Yeah, if it was like a pen name or something.
He seems to have like two different names, but I think the one he shot this under was supposed to be his real name. He's a this is basically a French art house film interpretation of an American horror film.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Actually makes a lot of sense. Oh shit! I just IMDb to IMDb. Fuck, I'm stupid.
Wait, what was the result?
IMDb. The first result is IMDb 2010 TV episode. And like underneath it says La La Land.
Nice. That's kind of like Googling Google.
Yeah, God, you know how many times I've fucking done that?
I dare somebody to Wikipedia.
It just pulls up the Wikipedia page. Just, dude, seriously. I mean, so I really didn't look into the director of all people. I didn't look into the director's career. I'm looking at him right now. I mean, for Rubber, he did the editing. He did some of the camera work. He wrote it. He directed it. Obviously, he produced it. And I think he did some of the music as well.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, it was either the score or the music. I forget what it is.
It just says composer, so yeah.
Okay, so he was composer then.
Yes.
But I mean, everything that he does is really off the cuff. It's very. Excuse me. I don't know how else to put it. Just Rubber-esque.
Okay.
Like everything that he's really done, because he and like some of the crew members, they work together as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the movie Wrong, which was 2012. I was going to say 2002. I'm stupid. Comedy mystery. It actually looks kind of cool. Ish. But again, it's more like an art house kind of film. And it seems like that's what he really likes to do is make these just fucking odd movies, but they're goddamn interesting.
I need to check out more of his stuff.
Yeah. Oh goddamn, you guys are loud. There we go. Actually, it's funny. I watched this movie with my roommate. She just happened to sit down right when I started the movie. She's like, "Oh, what the fuck you watching?" I was like, "Oh, Rubber." She's like, "Oh, I've heard about that." I'm like, well, fucking pull up a seat.
Strapped in.
Yeah. And she was watching it, and I had more fun watching her than I did watching the movie.
Yeah.
Because her reaction to all of this was the funniest goddamn thing.
Was she into it?
She was into it, trying to figure it out, and at the same time, so goddamn confused. Because I didn't tell her anything about it. All she knew is that it was a tire that killed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was it. And so when I was like, oh, I'm watching it for the podcast, I'm doing all this, she's like, oh, cool. She's sitting there watching it. And multiple times I saw her face scrunch up and both of her hands go to the side of her, like, shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Like a what the fuck just happened moment. Like, the first one was when the bunny exploded. The second was when it was... She happened to leave the room, come back when the tire was... by the way, the tire's name is Robert. I'm not too sure if you guys caught that.
Yeah.
When Robert was peeking in on the girl
In the shower?
in the shower, yeah. She was like, what the... Is it a fucking rapist tire? I was like, no, it's killer tire.
That also would be interesting. The serial rapist tire.
I'd watch that. Don't get me wrong.
I like the commentary that's going on during that scene. Like the people.
Oh,
in the crowd.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, honestly, that's what really threw me off was the crowd.
Well, I think it was a very meta addition to the movie.
Yeah.
Like they're meant to represent movie audiences in general. Particularly the scene where they're feeding them and they're all ravenous for it. And that's kind of like how commercial blockbuster films are done nowadays.
Oh, definitely.
How studio films are. Like people are just, falling over each other, going for them. They're a ravenous crowd looking for that instant gratification. And I thought that was a nice touch.
Oh no, that was brilliant. And then there was that one guy who was so into the film that he even literally got drawn into it to ask questions about it.
No.
Yeah.
The dead giveaway there is what's printed on his hat. That one guy, classically trained.
Yeah.
So he's meant to represent like the avant-garde, the nuevo artist or whatever.
The auteur, if you would.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, at the very end, when he fucking said it himself. The tire's coming back. I think it was a tricycle at this point in time. And it looks at him and he's like, no. Stay right there. I'm just an audience. Or I'm just a watcher or whatever the fuck he said.
Yeah, I'm not a part of this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not a character. That's what he said. He's like, I'm not a character. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Did they just break the fourth wall with that?
Well, they've been hinting at that whole breaking of the fourth wall from the beginning when the cop comes up and is literally addressing the audience and the camera. I mean, because you don't realize he's talking to an actual group of people who are actually the audience until, they switch angle again.
Yeah. And it was just... I like this movie. This is the second time I've seen this movie in the past... 6 years? 7 years?
Okay. So, Jamal, was this the first time you saw this movie?
This is the first time I saw this movie.
Okay, so coming into this fresh, what were your impressions of the whole thing?
At the end of this movie, I thought, what the fuck? I could have masturbated twice by now. 3 if I used my hands.
not even sure what to say to that. I think
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
more
No,
what the
no,
fuck
no.
than the movie.
I thought it was the kind of movie that is for me like a play is Waiting for Godot. Well, I don't know if you guys are you both aware of Waiting for Godot?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
familiar.
yeah.
Waiting for Godot for me has always been kind of like this excuse for a really good writer to just put down whatever he wants to write amazing dialogue and have absolutely no plot to it, nothing really of importance, no real like big plot hooks in it, and still create conflict and kind of like entertaining drama for like a couple hours. And I thought that this film was kind of like that. In the very beginning, he goes on that long monologue where he just says no reason,
Mhm.
no reason. Everything has no reason, right?
Yeah.
And when you really think about this movie, it has no reason. What is that tire's motivation? Where does he get his powers? What's its tragic backstory? None of that comes up. But what it is an excuse for this guy to kind of like, one, display great cinematography, introduce really high ideals or high concepts like the abstract audience that was watching the film, and to really kind of just to dissect like horror movie genres. Because what main thing didn't he hit that every horror movie does? The obligatory nude scene with the hot chick, the stalking, the always there's one kid that or at least a sympathetic character that somehow survives towards the end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is he took this ridiculous concept and put like really solid film work around it, and that's kind of what this movie was for me. Like it was an excuse to go out there and show off. Just look, I can make a compelling movie about a tire that has psychokinetic powers, and it's gonna turn out half decent.
Yeah. I mean, this film is critically acclaimed, even though it didn't do well at the box office, even though like the
Okay.
audiences don't get it
Okay.
or understand it. But
So on IMDb,
uh-huh.
it has a 5.8.
Okay.
Now, do
Out
you
of
guys
what?
remember out of 10?
Okay,
Yeah. Now, do you guys remember what Deathbed got last time?
like 3.9 or something.
A 4.6.
You know what movie those two still beat? Fantastic Four.
Touche. Not even gonna be angry with that one.
Do we know what Rubber got on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm just about to check that right now.
I'm gonna say if it's 5.8 here, I'm gonna say it's probably like 65% on Rotten
Yeah,
Tomatoes.
I'm gonna say like a 65. Son of a bitch, got a 68.
There you go.
Yeah. So it seemed like it was one of those movies that was,
It surprises you.
yeah. Okay, this is the perfect. Yeah, right here. This perfectly sums it up. The critics, the people that are actually do this for a somewhat living,
Mhm.
are the ones that gave it a 6 out of 10. A 68, almost a 70%.
Mhm.
The audience, however, gave it a 46%.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there should be enough within itself.
What was the critic one again?
The critics gave it a 68%.
And the audience didn't. And this is and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a hard movie for the casual moviegoer, the casual
It
movie fan to get
definitely is,
behind.
yeah. It's exactly like you said, Jamal. It's like the Art Nouveau style. It's for certain people that have that mentality or have that way of thinking. But when you give it out to the complete audience, they think you're fucking nuts. Like I've read plenty of reviews on this movie when people are just saying, "Oh, this is the dumbest thing in the world. I can't believe why would they make that? Why would they spend money on it?" And I watched it the first time, like this is fucking genius. Like it's so. I hate to say it, but it you know uh, Du Du
Yeah.
director
Something. I don't know.
Dupuy, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's French.
He and his crew made it look effortless, especially him.
Yeah.
He made it look effortless. That's what he did, and it was just as you were saying, Jamal. It was that perfect example of what American horror can and was. I mean, goddamn, this was super campy at the same time.
Yeah.
And
it
oh
was.
my god, I just found a happy little puppy wagging his tail. And
Oh my god, you are so ADD.
what? It said happy little loaf, and I'm like, was this a fucking piece of bread? Nope. It's one of those dogs that are like melted, what they look like, and it's just wagging its tail. And
So
it's walking into.
it's like pug bread.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the link. It's amazing.
Anyway, you were
But no,
saying
and
about the movie.
that's the movie itself was the first time I watched it. I'll admit it was hard for me to watch.
Hmm.
It was difficult.
Well, it's a lot to take in, and it's so different that it's hard to know what to make of it.
Yeah, and because I was going in with a different mindset. Oh, excuse me, that's a whiskey. I was going in a different movie mindset at the same time because
You're you're
I
you're you're,
because
prob-
I
you're probably going in like you went into Deathbed, weren't you?
no, I knew what I was getting into when it was Deathbed.
Okay.
Yeah, that movie just sucked entirely. But watching Rubber,
Hmm.
I knew what I was getting into, or I didn't know what I was getting into the first time. I thought it was going to be, um, like the classic American horror story. The tire's gone loose, it's crazy somehow, and it's killing people.
Kind of like Christine or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And then watching it the second time this past week, I was looking at it again. I'm like, holy shit, this thing is fucking awesome. Like, this is. I appreciate it more now than I did years back.
Yeah.
Oh, I made that drink strong. Ugh. Yeah, anyway, yeah, that's what I was just thinking, though.
So there's also kind of a lot of symbolism in here, and I don't know if it's me reading more into it than what's there, or if it's me, picking up on what is there. But I feel like in some regards, uh, the tire seems like it's our director's view on America, since this is kind of a French person's take on a horror film. It seems like, especially when I saw the tire watching NASCAR, that this is supposed to be America, and kind of in a way, it destroys everything in its path. That everything it comes up to, the rabbit, the crow, these things that didn't bother it, but just kind of were in its way, the beer bottle, all of these things, it just kind of literally rolls over and destroys for what they say is no reason, which is a beautiful way to explain away everything that happens. Don't ask any questions because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But did you guys kind of pick up on that, or did you think that when you were watching this?
Uh, Symbolism, not so much. Really, if there was symbolism for me, it was kind of like the breaking of the fourth wall, in that this is a commentary on film in itself,
Right.
and so a lot of the stuff that was coming up was. Like for instance, the crowd and the caricatures in the crowd, because each of those members in that crowd kind of feel like a stereotype or a caricature of somebody you would find in a theater.
Yeah, most
Uh,
definitely. Yeah.
And so I didn't get a lot of that. I did get the whole. They were able to tell a story without dialogue from the actual tire,
Hmm.
like that scene watching the NASCAR, and of course going to the place where they were burning the tires. Like it's from that, and then cut straight to like him have after having killed like dozens upon dozens of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of symbolism except for that little bit. But again, for me, it's less symbolism, more commentary.
Right. How about you, Mario?
Yes.
All right, good to know. Moving on.
No, I want to know what you say.
No, I just, like I said, I think that again, like a French person's take on American film. You see the tire kind of peering into someone's shower. It's the tire itself is kind of crass, kind of sex obsessed. He's watching the exercise videos, even though he has no legs, he can't exercise. you know, and so I think we've all been there, you know, at some point in our lives where we watch an exercise video just kind of for the titillation of it, and not so much the actual benefit to us for it. Or am I the only one who's ever done that?
Honestly,
Wait,
I
what?
didn't see it like that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying like you're wrong. I'm saying like I actually never saw it like that.
Right.
So, you know, I might have to rewatch the film again.
I do too. Again, I don't doubt that something like that is probably there. I'm just when I was watching the whole film, I was just thinking, what is he trying to? What is he talking about now? Is you know when he's
Well,
well
well,
because he's dissecting film in general. I think in this movie.
he is, and a lot of what you say about like the attitude of the audience. I mean, like as we see here, you know, a majority of the people who watch the film, you know, just the average moviegoer, didn't understand it, didn't like it, gave it a lower rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Whereas the critics, that
Yeah.
one guy who was in the wheelchair, you know, he was kind of the critic or the auteur or somebody who just knows about film. He really got into it, and the critics were like that. They really got into it,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
really kind of like forward thought there. I think he knew that going into this.
Probably he probably, you know, wrote it like that and hoped that that's how it would turn out. But you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's in a way he's kind of saying too that the movie only exists when the audience is there to watch it, and when they thought the entire audience was dead, they were, you know, ready to pull up stakes and move on, and then they found out that one guy was still watching it.
You know what I got from that? The fact that they killed off the rest of the audience but left the one guy. That guy is meant to represent that there's a segment, usually the really hardcore film buffs and guys like ourselves and actual reviewers and stuff like that who hold films to a higher degree. And so he's there waiting for something more.
Hmm.
He's waiting for a full story. He's waiting for the plot to progress. He's waiting to see the whole thing through.
Right.
Whereas the audience, they just went for in their ravenous and bloodthirsty and hunger went for the poison,
Hmm. The easy.
and then
Yeah.
and burned out.
Yeah.
They didn't make
Fantastic
it to the end.
Four.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he literally lost his audience about that point, and I think he knew that this film was not going to be for everybody, and this is about the point where they're going to start to check out. That either going to turn it off on their DVD players or turn it off on Netflix or walk out of the theater. Going to be that small portion of them who see something in this film that everybody else doesn't.
Yeah.
And I yeah, that's he left the one guy there because he's meant to represent us, the people that finished the film, the people that actually enjoyed the film.
Hmm.
This is a movie not necessarily made for the rest of the audience. It's just made specifically for you.
You think
What
he
do you?
went that? You think he went that far into it and saying this is specifically for
Right.
people like us?
I do because up until the death scene of the audience, from right after the opening monologue to the death scene of the mountains, that was a self-contained movie. There was no breaking of the fourth wall there, except for when they cut to the audience. But after that, after there's the one person left, the one person that appreciates the breaking of the fourth wall, the one person that understands what this movie is about, then
Right.
they're doing it at quite a bit after that. In fact, the whole ending is just one giant breaking of the fourth wall.
Okay.
He made two
Very getting
separate. He made two separate films.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah. Because after that point, it goes a little more meta. It goes a little more weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he talks about, you know, the ending, about how, you know, they're kind of just jerking each other around. That, you know, they should just get to the ending and do something with these characters already.
Oh, you know what? After the death of the audience, after the turkey scene, basically,
Hmm.
he has a second monologue. The one
The
where
the sheriff. Yeah,
where he's asked to get shot,
yeah,
where he's basically setting up the rest of the film,
yeah,
or the next film. Basically, where he goes, none of this is real. This isn't. This is fake.
Yeah, you're
Everybody go
right.
home. Everybody go home.
yeah.
Everybody leave. And then everybody does leave, except for those of us who are still there because we see what the movie is.
Yeah. Also, the time code on it still said like 30 minutes, so I wasn't going to leave yet. You know, I thought that was really funny when the sheriff and fucking Redneck McGee, I don't know his name, um, but at the very end, right before he goes in with the shotgun to blast the fucking
Tire.
robot, the goddamn it, yeah, tire. I read robot just as I was about to say tire, so I was just about to say the robot. But right before he was about to blast the tire, you know, he's screaming, "Is this the way it's going to end? It's going to end like this? Like this is so anticlimactic, like because that's exactly like you were saying, Jamal. It's not what people who are more into films want to see.
Yeah.
They don't want something that's just going to be force fed and just going to be so goddamn easy,
Predictable.
precisely. They want something that they're going to be able to see more of. So, you know, him screaming, "Oh, it's a tricycle now!" It excite you. Like you could tell, it excited him because it was something new and just something just so off the cuff that even he didn't see.
Yeah, it wasn't that formula. It wasn't that, save the cat kind of formula
Yeah.
that a lot of writers go with. And they go with that because, it's almost guaranteed to sell. And there's nothing wrong with that. And people really do enjoy those stories. But every once in a while, you do want something different like that. You want those twists to come out of left field and really surprise you.
Yeah.
Do you know how another marking that shows you he really understands who the audience of this film is? Over the course of it, and he understands that it's avant-garde, but the very final sequence, very final shot of this movie is the tricycle, which is, I don't know, a gateway into the sequel, followed by a bunch of tires, which is a franchise, heads all the way and stops right in front of Hollywood. He's delivered his avant-garde film to the doorsteps of Hollywood.
Oh, that's right. I thought
Yeah.
that was very fucking funny.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's about to get commercialized. It's going to be a good movie, and people people in Hollywood are going to notice. They're going to take it. They're going to completely bastardize and destroy the good parts of it, and just try to get a buck out of it. That's basically what he did with this
Yeah.
art film.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I didn't see that. The only reason I didn't see that, and now that you say it, yes, I completely believe you. Like I understand. I fucking agree. God damn, dude. Fucking 4 shots, and this is what does to me. But when I saw that again this week, my only thought was, "Hey, I've shot on that road." Like I was literally on that road, facing the Hollywood sign. I want to say like 3 weeks, maybe a month ago, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like just there for one of my shot, or there for the shot that we were doing. And that was the only thing I was thinking of. I'm like, hey, I know exactly where that street is. I've been up that road.
I've had the exact same experience like last week. I forgot what the movie is, but you know how there's observatory up there, like that little museum they have like around the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there on a vacation once, and somebody went down there to shoot like just a part of a scene for something, and I noticed them like, I know where the fuck they are. I've been down that hallway.
Oh my God, Heather does that all the time in movies. She's like, I know where that is. I've been
Yeah.
there. Oh, especially Swordfish, because she grew up in Ventura.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like, yeah. She's like, we will drive through downtown Ventura, and she's like, oh yeah, they changed all the facades, of all these buildings just to film Swordfish.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. I'm like,
Every single time someone who's from Ventura that I've met, and they've like they were around when it was getting shot, every fucking time I drive down there with them, they're like, "Oh, I was here for this." Blah blah blah. I'm like, I will fucking stab you for the 9th time. Shut up. Every fucking time.
Actually, you know what? Because you guys brought up
Ventura?
the end sequence of the tire, like where the guy was arguing. Isn't that every like real movie buff though, movie nerd, where they're always saying, well, this is how it should have ended, or we really should have done this at this point, or stuff like that. Like there's always that Monday morning quarterback or that backseat driver in us that sees the movie and goes, I would have preferred this or that added to it. That's literally that character voicing that at the end of the film.
oh yeah. Well, hell, I do that all the time.
I was gonna say that's us.
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me? By the way, it's called rubber, not tire.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'll forgive you this one time because you're
Yeah,
sick.
he's sick. Let the
Yeah.
boy be.
Wait. So what's wrong with you, Jamal? Like,
I the flu hit me like a ton of bricks, like
oh, I
out of
gotcha.
nowhere, out of nowhere. And the problem is like not like last night, but the night before I had to call into work because I wasn't feeling a flu coming on, and then I had like 2 or 3 beers, and then the flu hit right after that. So I got up the next morning, and it felt as though the alcohol had accumulated halfway between my esophagus and my stomach.
Oh,
That's how bad it was.
that sucks.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it was not fun. And now I'm coughing up blood because of my sore throat and everything.
Good lord, dude, go to fucking like urgent care or something.
And I'm pretty sure it's just my sinuses and a dry throat that's doing that.
Yeah, cause you're coughing it up and it's all raw and shit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
probably. If it's not too much blood, I wouldn't worry about it. But if it persists,
I know, I know. Yeah, this is my first rodeo with it. This happens every time the seasons change too for me. So
that sucks.
yeah.
I used to get that every once in a while back in Ohio. I would get like a very mild version of the flu, but I would to completely lose my voice. And I would have to drive into work because everywhere I worked, I always had to talk. So I'd have to drive into work and try to explain to them, I can't talk. I'm calling off sick.
Nice.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I know, right?
I,
Alright.
I don't even know what to say. You two.
What?
It's all
Oh,
right.
I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm just coughing up a little bit of blood. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you walk it off. You walk it off.
Yeah. Jesus.
You do. The show must go on, Mario.
Well,
Everybody can take a day off like you.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying, Jesus Christ, dude.
No,
If
this is bearable because I'm leaning into the mic and I'm barely using my voice at all.
oh, okay.
That's good.
I
Yeah,
guess that makes it better.
So,
a little bit.
so going back to the movie,
Yeah.
did you guys notice some of the not really well-known actors, but some of the character actors that were in this film?
Yes, and that actually brings up a really good point. You know what the most memorable thing, probably the most jarring scene in this film was to me, when the henchman eats the chocolates and dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The
When
fuck
the
was
when
that? I was about to say that earlier. What the fuck was that?
the classically trained, that's what I'm just gonna call him, classically trained,
Yeah.
or let's call him
He's just referred to as man in wheelchair, so
let's call him the auteur.
okay, the auteur.
Okay, the auteur is sitting there, and it's a long one take.
Mhm.
It's not a series of like in most films where they're cutting to the most dramatic angle. He's just a guy sitting there with another guy on the ground, and he's just, you know, essentially hamming it up. He doesn't do a terrible job at it. In fact, he's pretty good,
Yeah.
fairly convincing. But it's just him kind of like getting like as an actor, there are scenes where I'm going, all right, I've got this long take. I'm going to do it to the best that I can, but I know that they're going to cut this in editing and get the best parts of it,
Mhm.
like the best word out of this one, and then switch to another angle with the better pronunciation of this one. Not this. The guy's just laying it out there, and it feels like he has those thoughts going through his head too. Because there are moments where he kind of loses intensity, picks it back up, loses it, picks it back up, and then it's just that long shot, and all he's doing. And I really like the ending. He really sold that.
Well, when he was dying.
Yeah, when he finally died, and he like there's that like blood curdling scream, not blood curdling, but really like gut
No,
wrenching.
but it was weird. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
like, this dude's dying. You can tell.
yeah,
That's the thing. Opposite of like a Michael Bay film, where your average shot is like 2 seconds.
You know what?
yeah,
You're right, Alex. This guy should have blown up when he died.
No, but like the opposite of a Michael Bay movie, where your average take is like 2 seconds and it cuts to something else. This scene that was probably a good like 2 minutes, 3 minutes long was three cuts. There was the one that was kind of a close up of him when he's talking about his dad. There's one that's more of a wide shot when he starts to die, and it kind of goes around. It goes from left. It goes from right to left. So it's on kind of the right side of the screen when he's talking about his dad, and you all close up and you see the Artur in the background, and then you do that two shot wide angle when he
yeah.
realizes that he ate the poison and why the hell did he do that, and he starts to die, which I'm guessing is like producer or like maybe a writer, somebody who's like, I want to write something good, but I fall back to the formula that everybody else wants to see. And then it goes to the auteur in the foreground and him in the background dying. And it's kind of a more upward angle. So it kind of goes from a downward angle to an upward angle around these guys in these three shots. And it's interesting because when he's being kind of vulnerable and open and talking about his dad, you're really close up to him and you're very intimate. And then as he dies, you get a little further back from him. And it's like the perfect angles for those things, and he just lingered on them, and it almost was to the point where it was just a little too much. He got right to that line.
It was borderline hamming it up.
I'll
It
be right
was
back. Right back.
okay.
All right. So while he's doing that, I think I'm gonna get something to drink just to make this easier.
Right on, right on.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Mario's still talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll give him a few moments.
All right.
So the hotel owner, David Bowe, I think his name is.
Okay.
He was the best friend of Weird Al Yankovic in Weird Al Yankovic's movie UHF.
You know who I've seen somewhere? It's one of the fat kids in the crowd.
The one in like the nice jacket who was kind of the film buff.
Yeah, it's Charlie something.
Charlie Kantz. Oh,
Coons.
Koontz. He's on CSI Cyber right now. He was in Rubber and he was in Wrong, which is one of the other films this director did.
He's done just a lot of like Art Nouveau stuff.
No, we're talking about one of the actors, Charlie Koontz, who was the fat film buff.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was in. He's currently in CSI Cyber. He was in Community. It looks like for.
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna say,
no,
he's
no,
in,
no,
he's in
Fat
Community.
Neil.
Yeah,
It's
it's Fat Neil, dude.
Neil.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god. How did I miss that? I was looking at the whole film, like, going, where the fuck do I know you from?
Actually, it was funny. The second his face showed up, I'm like, fucking Fat Neil, dude. That
Well,
was
see,
like the first thing I thought of.
he's kind of clean shaven in Rubber, and he's got like this huge neck beard. His beard grows weird. He kind of looks like Peter Griffin. Like if they did a live action Family Guy, this guy should be Peter Griffin.
Yeah, he grows all patchy and shit.
It's just his beard is all neck.
Yeah.
It's just he's the perfect guy to be on a show like CSI Cyber because he plays like a computer guy. So he's exactly what I think of when I think computer geek.
Well,
But his beard just bothers me.
let me put it this way: if because he has the neck beard and he's kind of a nerd, if I went out to Hollywood and found some success, he's who I'm competing against.
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's the guy I'm competing against.
That's exactly who it is.
Hmm.
Easily typecast.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite just little bits in this movie was when they were explaining to the guy that he can't videotape the movie.
Yeah.
And which is a beautiful commentary about they did a really good job picking characters for that audience. that you had the guy who was, videotaping the film, that you had the two film buffs who were kind of talking shit, that you had that one guy who really did know. You had the two little snarky girls who just didn't get anything.
Like I said, they're all like caricatures
Yeah. But
of the people you find inside an actual theater.
Yeah, but the guy who was actually doing the filming was in Scanners. Daniel Quinn, I think his name is.
No, I never saw Scanners.
But Scanners is about people with psychokinetic powers who can blow up other people's heads with their mind. So it's kind of what the tire did to people.
I was like, so there with a goddamn tire.
Yeah. Which is I think, bless you. Which I think is one of the reasons why they had him in the movie, and just because the Robert's power is pretty similar to that of Scanners.
That's fucking funny if they did.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I saw some of the names at the beginning of the credits, I thought they were all made up.
Yeah, me too.
Steven Spinella, Jack Plotnick,
Yep.
Roxanne Mosquito. As they're showing her name in the credits, there's an actual mosquito on the screen. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
Yeah.
Yes, there
And
was.
Wings Hauser.
Yeah. Well, Wings Hauser is he's the guy in the wheelchair, and he's the guy who's done a lot of things. He's a pretty veteran character actor, and the kind of guy that you're like, hey, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Well, if he had gone by his real birth name, maybe I would have doubted so much. Gerald Dwight Hauser.
Oh yeah, Gerald Dwight Hauser. I wonder where Wings came from then.
Probably just
honestly, what it really sounded like is they were. To me, I thought they were the names of the characters within the film.
I thought they were being ironic and making up names for the parody had already begun, or the satire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I thought it was. Well, the second time I watched it. It was the first time I watched it. I'm like, oh, it's fucking Wings. Yeah, it's a person in. Because you move to LA and everyone's like, oh, there's already a Jack Johnson. So what are you gonna do? Oh, you're gonna come up with a new name. That's what I originally thought. And then watching the second time, I'm like, holy shit, it's already starting. Was my first thought. But for a while, I thought the director's name was also one of those made-up names.
Apparently not.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, what's the other thing that he's known as? His nickname is Mr.
Uzo?
Uzo? Is that how it's pronounced?
I think it's how it's pronounced.
Is that like the booze then? Is he a big Uzo drinker?
He is foreign. Granted, that's Greek. Uzo is Greece?
It is Greek, yeah.
Okay.
Whereas he is French.
Mm-hmm.
See, now he has a nice beard. That's very evenly distributed amongst his face.
Yeah, he's a director. He's not a fucking neckbeard.
He is not a neckbeard. I hope someday to have a beard like that. A directorial beard. He's got the crazy hair too that's poking out of his baseball cap.
Yeah, he does. He has like that.
If you want to have a directorial beard, you either need to shoot. They're the two tiers that you need to break into. The first one is the Kevin Smith beard, where much like his career, it's really solid in some places, but kind of barely there in others.
Okay.
And then you get the Spielberg beard, which is just one big solid chunk of work.
That is an amazing metaphor, actually.
Thank you.
I appreciate that on many different levels.
There you go. Yeah, that's the title of your show. That's the title of this episode.
Well, what is the title of the episode?
I don't know. Make something up with beards and Kevin Smith and Spielberg. I did the hard part of coming up with the metaphor. Ow.
By the beard of Kevin Smith, I will avenge thee. Yeah, this movie was just it was well thought out. I have to admit that for something that seems so ridiculous, even the puppeteering on the tire itself was done brilliantly. It's just
Yeah. I wasn't entirely sure what the hell was going on. Were they using stop motion? Were they just editing it like really like they rolled it for a certain bit of time and then re-edited it from a different location and stuff like that? I'm like, it was generally very well done.
yeah. I think there was a lot of that. I think some of it because you don't see the tire in the full frame. I think some of it was just people picking it up and their
Yeah.
hands are just off frame. I think there was some computer generated stuff when the tire is starting to do its little mind thing and blowing things up. And then yeah, it's just like rolling it. There's some, very very
The long rolling shots I thought was just them like rolling it a bunch of times and then just editing
It was
the
just
like a
some
bunch.
PA just kicking it around.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah. I think what they might have done, which a few of them seem this way to me, is that they might have had something inside the tire that was remote controlled that got it to move.
That's what
Because
I
Defi-
thought at first
Definitely
too. Yeah.
definitely the opening sequence.
yeah, because there's a time when the tire stops and then it starts up again.
Yeah.
So there might have been like a remote control car or something in the tire that did that. I don't know
Yeah.
what they did, but the puppeteering was really on point with this.
No, they did everything they did with it was fucking spot goddamn on.
Mhm. Even the acting, even like from the moment that guy pops out of the trunk and does his monologue about how
I thought that was the
None of
best
it
bit of acting in
matters.
the film.
yeah, how no good reason or no reason.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why is he popping out of the trunk? And then he goes into this, things are done for no reason. And it's like you kind of he says that and it kind of hypnotizes you into thinking, okay, I don't have to ask why this guy was riding around in the trunk or why he got back into the trunk. Because there's no real reason for it. And he's right. You do kind of get one per script. You get something that's kind of a writer's contrivance that something happens to help further the plot. But a lot of that stuff is just the director. It's artistic styling, like E.T. being brown instead of some sort of like hot pink color.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I thought some of that. I thought some of the content of that was just him being attempting to be funny,
It,
like
it,
that, for instance, or what was it? Something else in that film that, oh, like the never seeing anybody go to the bathroom or stuff like that. I thought that
yeah.
was just him trying to be funny.
It got to that point after a while. He started talking about why Kennedy got shot in JFK, no reason, you know. And
Yeah.
and if you think about the movie JFK, they never really go into the why of why Kennedy got shot. They just got into the how and who.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he starts doing these things, and because JFK and because you pretty much know that story, that you start saying, no, there's reason why he got shot. But if you actually think about the movie itself, they don't really go into it that much. It's about the lawyers trying to figure out, or the commission trying to figure out what actually happened. And as we all know, it was Magneto.
Yeah.
Clearly.
No. Magneto was trying to save Kennedy because he was one of them.
Oh, that's right, Kennedy was. But did they ever say what Kennedy's mutant power was?
He knows how to
Apparently
take
enough charm. Apparently enough charm to bone Marilyn Monroe.
See, Kennedy was a good-looking guy. I don't think that he needed a lot of charm to do that. I think Bill Clinton's mutant power would be the charm, because he's a little fugly. I won't lie.
Don't doubt
Yeah.
Slick Willie.
Hey, you know what? No, he will charm the pants off of a supermodel and get her to go to a strip club with him. I have no doubt that when we had those prisoners in what was it, Korea or something,
Yeah.
and they sent Bill Clinton in, and everybody was like, "Really, Bill Clinton?" I was like, "No, he's gonna have them eaten out of the palm of their hand. Not only is he going to get our reporters back, he's gonna bring like 3 or 4 babes along with him. They're just gonna give him women."
There's going to be so many goddamn illegitimate children.
I can't wait till he's relevant again. I can start doing my Clinton voice.
He might not be. I really want him to be, but there's a chance he might not be.
Well, there's always a chance. I mean, the road to the White House is a long and winding road, and all it takes is one mistake. I mean, look at Mondale. You know what Mondale's mistake was?
What?
He had a picture. He did a photo op where he went to to the Fort Knox, basically, to the base there. That's by the gold depository, Fort Knox. That is basically where tanks train and are stored. And he got in a tank and he put the tank headgear on, and he was driving around the tank and he was having a ball. And it was a great photo op, except he looked ridiculous in the headgear, even though that's the headgear you wear when you're driving and riding around in the tank. Everybody thought he looked like a doofus, and nobody voted for him.
That's a great reason not to vote for somebody.
That whether that's a great reason or not, that's the reason why he didn't get elected president. Well, that's what people boil it down to, was that one photo op. There's he went up against Reagan, and Reagan was pretty charismatic.
Yeah.
So
Reagan won off the basis that he acted like somebody we would want to elect, because he was an actor in real life. Because nothing he did policy wise was great, but he acted like the person we want. There was a persona to Reagan.
Well, that's what it is. You don't vote for the best person for the job. You vote for the person you'd most likely have a beer with, or want to have a beer with. And I'd have to say, I would probably have a beer with Reagan. He would seem like you're sitting down with your granddad. And I would love to have.
Yeah, you're completely right. I would never. I don't advocate it. I always hated that, and it's very true what you're saying, and I've always hated that.
And
vote for the guy. Vote for the guy who graduated Harvard.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
Like Clinton. Clinton was the guy that you'd sit down and have a beer with. That beer would be in a strip club, but you'd still be sitting there having a beer with him. And that's really what you got to look at. And that's what politicians try to do. They try to make themselves look like every man. And I don't know how George Bush got elected president. That one still escapes me, because I never wanted to have a beer with him. I never liked him. I never thought he was intelligent. Everything he did sounded like it was. Everything that he did, it sounded like Saturday Night Live was paying him to be an idiot so they can make fun of him on the show.
You know what I thought it was? I thought he got elected off the basis that it was entertaining, because it was easy to make fun of him, and that he was willing to make fun of himself at times. So he wasn't necessarily personable as he was, amusing.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But again, I would rather people voted based purely on actual,
stats or
merits.
Yeah,
merit. Yeah, I would rather live in a meritocracy. Basically.
Yeah, that would be nice, but it seems like that's less and less likely, especially with all the mudslinging that politicians do, and nobody ever says the things that they've done in their commercials. They always say the negative things that their opponent has done.
Yeah.
And that bugs me so much, because I want to hear what they've done. Why do you think? Not why you think the other guy shouldn't be elected, but why do you think you should be elected? That's what I want to hear.
Like, what's your position on abortion?
Yeah. It's like the debates. The debates, which at times are really, really boring, but are the only times you really see who and what the politicians are. And even then, they start doing the whole, well, my opponent, blah, blah, blah.
For me, I don't subscribe to one, party or another.
Yeah.
But as of late, I will admit that as of late, I'm probably more Democratic than anything else, because those debates just tell you which one's actually serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear a lot of who's your favorite musician in the Democratic debates. You hear questions like that in the Republican ones a lot. Yeah. And that really, really bugs me.
Well, the last Republican convention, when Clint Eastwood was just talking to the chair.
Yeah.
He seemed a little more crazy than he did poignant to me.
Which sucks, because I like Clint Eastwood, and I don't. He identifies as libertarian, which kind of saves him in my eyes.
Uh-huh. Well, no, he's good and all, and for the most part I like him. But when you think about the two speeches that really stood out in both of those conventions, you have Clint Eastwood's speech about him talking to this fictional character, this Democrat, if you will, and just scolding him like a child. And then on the Democrat side, you had Bill Clinton come out, who said all these facts of Obama's record.
Yeah.
And his career and the high points of it. And
Yes.
it's like at that point, how did you not want to vote for that guy? Whether he was a good president or not is subjective to, your point of view. But at that moment in time, that was the better speech, and that was probably what carried him, to the next thing that he had to do.
Yeah.
That kept that momentum going. It's amazing how
So,
it's amazing how sometimes film can spark those kind of debates.
yes.
Yes.
And now we segue back to film by going through White House Down.
Oh yes, White House Down or Olympus Has Fallen.
I haven't seen either one fully yet. I started White House Down the other day.
I think Olympus Has Fallen is the better film. I think it is the better film.
Did
Apparently,
you guys have you guys seen the or at least seen the trailer for the new Sam Jackson version of A President in Danger, Big Game?
yes, that actually looks
No,
amazing.
I haven't.
It's like he's in the Netherlands or something, and he gets shot out of Air Force One, and he meets up with a kid who's hunting, who saves him from terrorists or from assassins or whatever they are.
Sounds
Hmm.
terrible, right?
It
Sounds
sounds
terrible.
terrible, but
Yeah,
the
it actually
previews,
sounds quite terrible.
no, the
You know what?
previews make it seem awesome.
You know what the Rotten Tomatoes on it is?
What?
Oh God,
75.
Uh,
really?
Yeah.
I would have guessed a little bit higher, but yeah.
This is a Sam Jackson straight to D. Well, I don't think it was straight to DVD, but it's something that belongs straight to DVD, and it's got a 75 off of critics. So I'm actually genuinely excited to see this. I'm probably gonna watch this later.
Has it?
Huh.
So it's already come out though, right?
Yeah, look,
2014.
yeah, it just came out on DVD. I just stocked it in store today.
It's a 5.5 on
No,
IMDb.
no, audiences hate it for some reason. 36% did not like it, or 36% approve of it.
Hmm. Well, we should probably do this as one of our films after we do the.
Well, no, I was gonna suggest that because I bring up White House Down, Olympus Has Fallen, and two other movies that I just saw recently. John Wick. Have either of you seen that?
This one with Tom Cruise. No,
No,
that's.
that's the one. That's the one with from the Matrix, Keanu
Oh,
Reeves,
Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I did see that movie.
and what do you call it? Equalizer
Equalizer.
with Denzel.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, my John Wick was an interesting movie, except there were like four times in that movie that John Wick's character should have had a broken back.
There was 4 times in that movie where John Wick's character should have just died. Period.
True that. But there was, as speaking of a guy who hurt himself in a jumpy castle, I could tell you falling off a balcony at a nightclub would render him immobile for at least a good 10 minutes.
Well, no,
So Alex, are you saying a jumping castle injury and falling out of a two-story window are about the same?
I'm saying that if I'm immobilized for 5 minutes after landing on basically what stuntmen land on to not hurt themselves in a stunt like that, and I hurt myself, that a guy who lands on concrete after falling 2 stories, yes, is pretty much going to be immobilized for a while.
Okay, so John Wick, The Equalizer, White House Down, Olympus Has Fallen, Big Game. I'm going to throw out a couple more.
Fridge.
I saw The Equalizer too, and The Equalizer was loosely based on a TV show from the 80s, which
Yeah.
I didn't love that show, but I kind of respected it. It was pretty cool for what it was, and that tainted me a little bit in this film, and there were some things in it that I just couldn't get over. But
What else? The Gunman star with Sean Penn. Did you guys see any? Either of you guys see that
I
one?
haven't seen that yet. No.
Years ago.
And Colombiana, and basically any of the Taken movies. I bring all of these up because they're examples of today's action movies, and really, when we think of today's action movies, we think of superhero movies, right? Or franchise films,
Yeah.
a la Jurassic Park and stuff like that. Nobody makes any like the really physical, like the guy does his own stunts, goes out, gets into fight scenes, these kinds of movies anymore. And I thought it would be for after we've done the inanimate objects kill people genre, we can devote an episode to just like comparing and contrasting the modern take on an action movie, because these are just purely on their face, nothing else. They're not sci-fi or anything else. They're just action movies.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do like a month of action films and pick out maybe 4 of these to really kind of look into.
Because I thoroughly enjoy John Wick. It knows what it is on its face. It's a movie that knows that it's got all the makings of a direct-to-DVD flick. It's a B movie,
Mhm.
but they took the time and care to really put as much as they could into it, and it ended up a really good theater experience, basically a theater level movie. Like the early 2000s now occupy that space that in the early 2000s belonged to grindhouse films. Remember how everybody was nostalgic for those kinds of films, and Tarantino was coming out with stuff like that, like the Kill Bills and type movies. John Wick was that. What is it if not an early 2000 between 2000 2005 action movie?
Yeah, true.
John Wick. I've heard of the film.
John Wick.
Basically, the plot of the film is John Wick was a
Wait.
enforcer for the mob, wasn't
Let me
he?
explain it because it sounds great. Just the bare basics of the plot.
Wait,
John
was
Wick
this
is a
the
guy
one
with a
with-
past.
Yeah, it was the one with Keanu.
Yeah.
Fuck, I
Yeah.
never saw this. I really wanted to see this one.
Basically, John Wick is a man with a mysterious past who goes get up against the mob after the mob kills his dog, and that's all the plot you need.
Yeah.
Trust me, when you watch the film in itself, it'll make it. Oh God, it's heartbreaking that first sequence with the dog.
Oh, it is. You don't. There's not a lot of films that are ballsy enough to kill off the dog, or the cat, or any creature like that.
Thanks for giving that away.
But it's what you said after they killed his dog.
No, I just said it's heartbreaking the first sequence with the dog.
Yeah, but it's there's not a lot of films that do that though. It's very ballsy and it's very shocking to see that. It's still in today's day and age. And when a character does that, there's no coming back from that. The audience turns on them.
Well,
So
now that you've given away the big death of the dog, all I'll say is this: the dog is in there for like 10, maybe probably less than 10 minutes. He wins you over in those 10 minutes. I mean, it is absolutely heartbreaking when they actually end up killing the dog.
Well,
like,
I mean,
in just a few shots, you love the dog.
Yeah, well, it's a puppy. How can you not love a puppy? And the reason why he has the dog is heartbreaking in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's again really good movie. I again, this is me being the auteur from Rubber. The end sequence really did seem like B movie material, but everything around it just seems great.
Oh yeah.
Like the lead up to it was just. It doesn't end as well as I hoped. It doesn't end as strong as I would have hoped, but the build up to it is just absolutely amazing, nonstop thrill ride.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
All right. Wait, so am I gonna watch this one by myself, or are we gonna hold off on it?
And which one?
Wick.
Let's wait until we're done with our. Just make a note of next month's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when John Wick first came out. That was what, last year? Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
Some friends and I were gonna go see it, and then just slipped through our cracks. Never saw it.
Oh, Mario.
I knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna find that funny, Alex.
It's Alex.
Yeah. But no, just start thinking of something within the last 5 years or so. Just straight up, like, I'll even give you a budget. Anything that's shot for less than 75 mil. That to me kind of like tells you what today's action movie is, because nobody's buying CGI on 75 mil.
So speaking of
75 mil, like
75
film
million
stock, or $75 million?
Like $75 million, like a production budget. Nobody does like good CGI.
Oh, budget. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm sure all these films were probably shot for like 50 million or less, which is fine.
Yeah, but speaking of budget, do you guys know, without looking, how big the budget was for Rubber?
$13.
500 million, or 500,000.
500,000, yes. And you know how much of that they made back?
100,000. But here's the thing: I don't think they ever really truly expected it to make it back, because they shopped this around at film festivals
Yeah,
not like wide release stuff. So they may have made that money back in just DVD rentals or something.
possibly. But yeah, it was just an art house film.
Yeah,
It was,
I mean,
it was
it was. I don't think they ever seriously thought, well, we're gonna make twice our budget back and make a profit out of this.
no, but the fact that they made this and they made it for like 500,000, which is microscopic in the term of movie budgets, is
Monsters was made for the same budget. I mean, it's
It
amazing what you can do
was.
now. It's
yeah.
amazing what you can do now with just that much money. That's how far technology has progressed. Because it doesn't seem like this film was shot with anything less than the highest quality of cameras and equipment.
Yeah, well, basically the cameras that Mario and I have. How much? Do you still have your Canon, Mario?
No, I sold mine actually before I moved out here.
Hmm. How much did you spend on that when you bought it?
It was 1100.
Okay, and you had the 7D.
I had the T2i, dude.
So you spent that much on a T2i?
I got it brand new.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we spent pretty close to that, I think, on our T4i.
Yeah.
You get a couple lenses, and you can actually get some decent lenses that are relatively inexpensive. You got to get like the adapter for them because they're like Russian lenses, but Russians actually make some pretty decent lenses.
Yeah.
So you can actually shoot a movie like that with a camera that's under like $2,000.
Well,
Nowadays you
this
can
is
do
my
it for like
conversation. This is my point from last week. Remember when I brought up Tarantino and I said nobody is taking that initiative, that next step, where they on their own they take their whatever resources available and just based purely on the strength of the material that they have, the script and the concept, make a really good film. Nobody's doing that anymore except for the occasional rubber. See, I knew you'd laugh at that too.
The occasional rubber.
Yeah.
grown ass man.
Hey, you're gonna soft pitch him in like that, man. I'm gonna laugh. But speaking of movies with relatively low budgets, you're familiar with the cartoon Aqua Teen Hunger Force, right?
No.
Yes. I don't actually watch it, but I know of the show.
Okay. So they did a movie, a wide theatrical release movie, Aqua Teen Hunger Force: movie film for theaters.
Yeah.
So the budget for that movie was $750,000.
How much did it make?
It grossed 5.5 million,
Whoop-de-doo.
which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a hell of a turnaround on a fucking budget like that.
Well,
You
for an
gotta make-
animation,
If
Yeah.
you make twice your budget, you've only made back the money you spent because the studio and the actual theaters that show the film split the money down the middle.
Right.
So if a movie shot for 100 million and only makes 200 million, then they've only broken even. To really make a decent profit out there, they're looking at 2.5 times to 3 times the actual budget. And for Aqua Teen to make almost 10 times its budget back, yeah, I'm pretty sure they can go home and hang the, kick back and, enjoy that they've actually accomplished something.
well, you also have to remember that show itself is still airing. They're in their what 7th season?
Something like that.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I stopped watching that show when I moved out here, but I mean, it's still a syndicated show. On top of the movie still being played. I mean, when I went back to Arizona one of these last times, they actually replayed that movie in one at the Loft, the art house out there.
Oh, I should have known that. I'd love to have seen that on the big
Yeah.
screen.
Unfortunately, I was leaving that day that they were going to show it,
Uh-oh.
but they were showing Aqua Teen movie at an art house. God, what? 5-6 years after the movie came out.
Mhm.
And obviously, the Loft, it's a art house, but they still have to pay, their licensing fees. So again, that movie was still making money. I'm pretty sure they do the same thing over in fucking Hipsterville, fucking Seattle.
Mhm.
They do it everywhere, and that's one animated movie. That's where the entire budget of that film was to that film. It didn't have to go to catering. It didn't have to go to, paying off the guy that's, running his lawnmower at 6 in the morning, so the producer is going to have to go over there and pay him off to stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That was 750,000. You said
Yeah.
that's $750,000 going directly to that film,
Mm-hmm.
and then here they are making 10, 12 times its own budget. I'd personally call that movie a goddamn success.
Totally.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Almost 10 times its. Well, what's the exact numbers? 7.5, 7.
I don't know. You do the math. You're Asian-ish.
About. Yeah, it's 7 times its budget back. Over 7
Okay.
times its budget back.
So it made 7 times its own budget.
Yeah,
On
they
top
brought
of
they. I'm surprised there isn't a sequel.
I'm actually surprised too, but I think that might have been in part a fluke because of the whole thing that went down in Boston right before the movie came out. That was
yeah,
better advertisement than what they had intended it to be.
goddamn, that was funny.
Yeah.
I can't believe they reacted like that.
Well, I mean, considering the marathon a couple of years back, I'm surprised
Yeah,
they
but
didn't.
that was years before the marathon bombing.
Yeah, but it was shortly after September 11th, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was after 9/11.
Yeah. So
Actually, as you guys bring that up, you know, a movie I just saw the other day, Live Free or Die Hard. That movie came out like what, 6 or 7 years after 9/11.
Mhm.
You remember when the people couldn't possibly conceive big movies that blew up buildings anymore, right?
Yep.
Directly after 9/11.
Yeah.
And the fact that we do it every major movie we do now. Do you think that's directly correlated to 9/11? Like our senses have just been exploded, like because we've been exposed to that real like huge
Yes.
catastrophe.
Yes, it is.
Now we expect that.
Yeah. In the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the end scene was supposed to be him in between the Twin Towers with the spider web.
Yeah.
And they reshot that after 9/11 because, A, the towers weren't there anymore, and B, it was just because out of respect of those towers going down.
Well, was it a couple of I forget which DVD. I think it was Spider-Man 1. The one with Tobey Maguire. The DVD box art was actually remade. Like, they had to do it almost immediately because they had the Twin Towers on it.
Yeah.
And then in the first Spider-Man, you actually see it in the background.
Yeah.
Like, they actually shot the Twin shot the Twin Towers.
Unless you go in and take it out digitally, there's
Yeah.
not much you can do about it.
Exactly.
But it's the thing that I think the commercial was even like the spider web between the Twin Towers and Spider-Man catches a helicopter like a fly. I think they even reshot that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Makes sense, though.
Mhm.
I get it now. But fucking film. It's the easiest way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's where you can do stuff like that and get away with it.
Yeah, true.
The fuck is fucking cat? Get the fuck off. Thank you.
So since we're just kind of going off on riffs here, anybody else notice how good television's getting?
Nope.
So, speaking of television, do you watch like Arrow or The Flash?
Not consistently.
Okay, they're coming out with a team-based DC-based team superhero TV show with
Legends.
with Arrow and The Flash. Yeah.
It's not really them; they're just kind of cameoing, but it's all their side characters in their shows are making a team, which is fine because I like some of those characters better than I do the stars of the shows.
I'm the jury's out on that one until I see the first episode. I'm not too sure how big of a role those two guys are going to play in it. But they're coming out with the Atom, which is basically DC's version of Ant-Man, and it's weird to me that they're coming out with him now, right after Ant-Man was successful.
I think that they introduced him before Ant-Man came out, except he was more. For some reason, they turned him into a parody, not a parody, but a kind of a version of Iron Man, which has nothing to do with the actual comic book character. And now they're turning him into the actual comic book character by shrinking him.
Okay.
But they're doing it just to capitalize on it. It's blatant, but it's what they're doing. I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah. There is a new series coming out. I saw a trailer for it called Lucifer, and
Yes.
I want to see this because it just strikes me as interesting. It's basically the story is Lucifer, the son of Satan, comes to walk upon the earth and fight crime with a California detective, homicide detective.
Yeah, based
Hmm.
on a Vertigo series. He basically quits his job as the devil
Yeah.
and comes up here to solve crimes.
Oh, I didn't
Well,
realize.
it's not what he does in the actual comic, but he doesn't solve crimes in the books. But that's how they're adapting it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how far that goes. I didn't realize that was an actual comic book, though. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay. I have a little more respect for it then.
I actually don't know if they're still making that comic, but yeah, it actually made a resurfacing. Probably in the last couple of years.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, for some reason it picked up steam again. It was really big for like the auteurs of comic books
Yeah.
back in the mid 2000s. Went away, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about it again. I don't know if it's because of the show.
I don't know. But I was actually disappointed they did Constantine as a TV show and it was really good and they canceled it
You know,
after the first season.
yeah.
well, they're bringing him back.
Are they?
The same actor and all is going to be Constantine in Arrow.
Is he?
Yeah, they saved him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So expect to see him in Arrow next season.
No, it's not going to be
Honestly, you
the
know what?
same.
All this stuff is really, it's really reminiscent of the whole
What?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing.
Yeah.
You know, Buffy was a really good show, and it lasted so fucking long.
Hmm.
And
7 years.
yeah, and then when it finally, the storyline ended, and then they had smaller characters in it. They had Angel, they had oh fuck, God, I can never remember his name. The dude that looks like Draco Malfoy now.
Oh,
Um,
Seth
Spike,
Green.
Spike,
Spike. Yeah.
Spike, yeah.
Spike. Um, Angel got his own spin-off series from that,
Hmm.
and just like all these little shows within it were created from that one show, and it seems like they're doing the same thing nowadays. Backwards, unfortunately, or which
Hmm.
is funny. But they had these smaller shows, and they're bringing them all together for one bigger show. It's just the
Yeah.
easiest way I can put it. Arrow is coming together with Constantine, or Arrow and Flash are coming together. Constantine is going on to another one. Um,
Well, they're doing it on the Marvel side too with Daredevil or yeah, Daredevil and Iron Fist
yeah,
and the other one, Luke
and
Cage.
so it's really funny to me that they're going back to something that worked so well years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. In fact, I kind of like it, but I'm okay with it only if they're very conscious to say this is a shared universe in and of itself. It has, for instance, all the DC TV stuff has nothing to do with the movie stuff. Whereas people see the Daredevil series and Agents of Shield, and they can tie those directly to uh, the movies, the
Yeah,
Marvel movies. And the DC stuff is because they're so disconnected from one another. They're just going to confuse people. I think a lot of casual fans are not going to understand all of that.
yeah.
Maybe, maybe
Unless,
not. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and everybody's picking up on that. And there's even still some Marvel movies like the X-Men and like the Fantastic Four that aren't a part of that universe. That is a little confusing, but I think most people are starting to pick up on that right now.
Well, that's the thing. The main thing most people have been exposed to is the Marvel Cinematic Universe and its offshoots.
Hmm.
And I think people look at Man of Steel and then Batman versus Superman, and they're going to think to themselves, "How does Arrow fit into all of this?" Because I don't think they've ever actually addressed that on screen or anything like that. But I think it would behoove DC and Warner Brothers in general to really kind of put out a campaign saying, "Hey, completely separate things. That Supergirl show coming out on CBS has nothing to do with Superman and Man of Steel."
Uh, I don't know if it's going to be that way or not, though. I'm not even sure they know that because her outfit, her shirt looks very similar to the shirt that or the
Well,
outfit that they use in the Man of Steel, but it may not have anything to do with it. And
well, no, they've come out and said that they're separate things, but
what did they?
that's pretty much all they've done. They just kind of like when they were announcing the show, somebody just asked and they said no, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, I think
They haven't actually made it a point to specify.
I think what it's going to be the movies are going to be one universe and the TV show is going to be another universe. I think that's how it's
Well, no,
going.
that's exactly what they're saying they're going to do, but they haven't really put anything behind actually making that distinction for the casual fan who expects the Marvel experience,
Well,
where everything, even their TV and their movies, are all interconnected.
well, they're starting to do Justice League, and they're putting some of the Justice League people into, the Arrow universe right now. So Arrow was part of the Justice League at one point. The Flash definitely is. Hawkgirl definitely is. So, when are these people? That's when it's going to actually start getting confusing. Is when they start doing two different actors for these characters.
No. Yeah, I'm glad you brought the Flash up because they've already cast the Flash for the Justice League movie.
Did they?
It's somebody completely different,
Yeah. Well,
and somebody, yeah.
they had to do that with Quicksilver, who is also the speed guy, because they used him in
X-Men and Avengers.
yeah, and those are owned by different companies, different production companies, so they had to use different characters or different actors
Whenever
for those characters.
you guys have seen the Age of Ultron, right?
I haven't yet, no.
No.
Okay, never mind then. When you've seen it, I'll throw out my points, but never mind.
Okay.
But they really
Oh,
shouldn't. All I'll say is they probably should not have. The very reason they introduced Quicksilver in the Avengers, it bugs me because you'll know by movie's end. He
Okay.
serves a very specific, movie trope.
Wait, the latest Avengers? Is that the one you're talking about? Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet then, so I don't know.
I just watch the movie and you'll get what I mean.
I got you. I wasn't really a big Avengers fan. The first one, the new upcoming, normally, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge, I like the comic book movies. They're fun and entertaining. There's no other way of putting it.
Most of them.
Yeah. And so when I saw Avengers 2, I was like, I think I'll be good without it.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. That the first one was so successful because it was the first. It was the first time you ever saw them all together. It was this combination of years of Marvel introducing these individual characters and then finally merging them into one. And so they'll never get that same sort of special feeling you got with the first one. And that's why this one didn't gross as much or was received nearly as well by the critics or and audiences.
Well, I think people too might have just thought it would have suffered from sequelitis, where it's just not going to be as good as the original no matter what you do to it. So I think some people are just afraid to go see it on that basis alone.
Very true. I mean, but here's the thing though. To counter that, they've done nothing but tease and build up to the second one. In every movie they've done, it's always been a reference to the next Avengers movie. Like every movie, like the Iron Man movie and the Captain America movie, there's always that one reference to your friends in New York.
Yeah.
That's all they've done since the last one came out is build up and tease the next one.
Yeah. True.
So people knew this was coming, and so they.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's going to be a third one too eventually.
Well, there's a third and a fourth apparently, because they're just splitting the last one into two movies, but still shooting it at the same time. So they've cheated the actors because they're signed on for only so much.
Yeah.
They've actually signed on for two movies.
See,
and one movie extra.
That's Harry Potter's fault right there.
Yeah.
Harry Potter was the first one to split the last movie into two, and now everybody's doing that. Fucking Twilight did that, and that movie shouldn't even have been a movie, let alone two movies.
Since you bring up a book turned into a movie, I was watching Honest Trailers the other day, and it led me down the rabbit hole. But the Honest Trailers was for 50 Shades of Grey. I have not seen the movie, but if dialogue like as follows, and I quote, "What's a butt plug?" is in that film, god damn, has the standard of film and movie going been lowered.
To some degree,
Well,
yeah.
what really kills me with that film itself is that it was fan fiction by some random ass person. Like literally, it was on a forum.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Hey, let's make this fan fiction. of uh, guy and girl, like vampire and his whore, whatever their names are.
That's pretty much their name. So go on.
Okay,
No, it's
sure.
a fan fiction for Twilight. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twilight in itself is written like it's fan fiction because it's an amateur writing it.
And then when they, I don't know the name of the chick that did the the movie we were just 50 Shades of Grey. There we go.
Get on my Google device.
E.L. James. I remember that because of the Spanish rapper sounding name.
That's true. LJ.
Fair enough. Yeah, not gonna get that out of my brain now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that thing was a fan fiction that was made into a movie, and God knows how much that movie made. I can
Device.
Yeah, I mean, I know personally, I know 6 people who watched that film.
I have
I
not
know
seen
people
it.
who watched that movie. I know people who watched the Twilight movies. Like showered, shaved, fucking went to the theater and said one for insert movie of either one of those. Like I know people who did that.
Mario wins this week just for specifying. They showered and they shaved and they went to the theater to see this.
Like they
Awesome.
plopped down their hard-earned money to do that. Like that blew my mind.
You know how much the movie made? $569 million.
Jesus Christ.
There's a $40 million budget too.
But the saddest thing, and this, to put it into context, this is how bad the Fantastic Four movie was. Fantastic Four has an 8 on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie that has the line of dialogue, "What's a butt plug?" stands at 25. Still 3 times the movie Fantastic Four was.
God damn. Oh, did you guys know YouTube and everything? So
YouTube?
yeah, it's the thing that you barely know how to operate, Alex.
Okay.
Was it 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah.
Oh, read by what's his face?
No. It's not Honest Trailer. It's by this. It's the show, or it's a channel. That's the word I was looking for. That is called Dorkly. You might have to bleep that,
I think I might
Alex.
have
I don't
seen
know.
that. I think I might have
I'm
seen
sending
that.
it to you guys. I'm sending it to you guys right now.
I know of Dorkly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That too.
Love Dorkly. They're fucking hilarious. They have their own website, dorkly.com. And it's just funny nerd humor. And they did this one. It's called The Insane True Story Behind 50 Shades of Grey. Again, I've had friends who've read the story as well as they've went to the movie, and they've told me flat out, yes, this is exactly what's in the film. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, you understand what you just told me right now? Like, you understand those words that you just said to me about this movie? They're like, yeah, but it was still a fun movie. Okay.
While Dorkly is loading up, am I the only one that saw the trailers for that and saw? I'm sorry. It just seems to me like the whole buildup of the movie and the main conflict in the film is the guy getting anal. Hey, God, Dorkly's on. No, it just like it ends with the shot of her kind of like blindfolded and just like popping up. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Is out there building up the anal or something? Like, are they getting backdoor action?
Okay, I can openly admit I'd never seen a trailer. I'd never read this book. I never
see the
saw
first-
the movie.
See the I don't know, just type in 50 Shades of Grey trailer and it actually seems like the whole plot of the movie is just building up to him getting like a little, getting in the backdoor action.
Was it getting a little fucking pinky in there? What?
No, it just seems like they're building up to something that they're doing in bed because they show a bunch of sex scenes before then, and then it just ends with some weird act that they do there, and like going, what the fuck are they doing?
Maybe it's something weirder than anal.
Okay.
Something that we haven't.
Well, I know. No, the sad part is in the movie.
Super
It's
anal.
probably no. The sad part is in the movie. It probably is something weirder than anal. That might be the actual plot of this film.
I kind of want to see it just to see how poorly it's done and how poorly it represents the lifestyle. But then on the other hand, I don't really want to see it.
Do yourselves a favor and Google 50 Shades of Grey meets The Dark Knight, where they basically
Oh, Jesus.
they basically replace the main guy with who just shots of Christian Bale in the Dark Knight franchise, and the final shot is hilarious. Like for that part where she's like blindfolded and just screaming, it's hilarious in that trailer.
I'm gonna have to watch that now. That sounds funny.
No, there's a bunch of those where they just replace that guy, and then this because the trailer's basically that girl writhing for like 30 seconds, and they just replace him with, like the most random people from movies.
Again, that doesn't sound like a movie I want to watch,
Yeah,
or even a trailer. You know?
yeah. Again, this is there's absolutely no interest on my part to see this film, but I must say that it's just from the way people are describing it. Is it bordering on that so bad that it's good territory? I don't know. Like the dialogue I see in like clips just says no, but everybody says it's so bad, so terrible that I'm kind of like curious. Is it so bad that it's good? Is it what's a good example of that? Is it Rubber?
Okay, guys. The first one of us that the first one of us that openly says we need to watch one of those movies, we need to do something very bad to that person.
I said I was curious. I'm not actually going to watch the damn thing.
I'm just saying.
Are you saying that if we say that we have to watch it for the show?
No.
I'm saying if one of us
we already
openly
have
admits, like, what?
We've already plotted out the next month and a half. Let's just go with that, and we'll probably forget this by the end of the month and a half. So we'll be good.
So speaking of, it's getting close to 10 o'clock, and I need to go.
You need to go do your work thing.
Yeah. So Jamal, it's your turn to pick. Are you gonna go with Killer Tomatoes too?
Well, you guys, I give you guys the pick. Either we watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or Return of the Killer Tomatoes. I would rather watch the one with Clooney, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's your pick. Whatever you want.
Oh no, I'm just trying to get some feedback from you guys. Okay, let's watch Return.
If you want to do the one with Clooney, yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, right. You're gonna ask my opinion. I said deathbed, the bed that eats. You're gonna ask for my opinion.
Wait. Before we get off deathbed, yeah, pun there. Yeah. Before we get off deathbed.
Getting off it.
Wait. Was it so bad that it was good? No, but we never. I don't think I ever asked.
No.
I asked that question last week. I didn't ask that question. So no, it's just bad.
Yeah, I thought it was just bad.
See,
I thought it was bad. I thought that
was bad. I thought there was some things in there that were really, really good. They just didn't explore it well enough. So I will.
Tits don't count.
Yeah, like my positive review of that film was, at least there was tits.
It's pretty much all they've got. Yeah.
And even then, they ruined that by the end. But anyway, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, just because it's campy.
Okay.
All right.
We can do that.
Okay. All right.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. I've seen the first one. Oh, by the way, my aunt's in it.
Of Return of the Killer Tomatoes?
Yeah. Or no, the first one. The Killer Tomatoes?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
By the way, if anybody wants to check it out, this is the same year that Clooney did Return of the Killer Tomatoes and a movie called Return to Zombie High or Mutant High in the same year.
Yeah, this was a low point in his career.
I'm just saying, if anybody wants to go out and see both.
I think right after he did those movies, he got on the Roseanne Barr show. Roseanne.
Well, no, this is him regressing because his first gig, I believe, was on a show called ER. Not the ER you're thinking of. It was an ER that had him and Denzel Washington on at the same time, and nobody talks about that show.
Was there?
Wasn't Denzel on ER?
No. Well, no, the ER that we're all think of when we think of George Clooney is not the ER I'm talking about. There was another ER before that's actually E/R, and it had both these actors on it. It was on for one season, I believe, and nobody ever talks about it.
Well, it's because it was on for one season. Nobody probably remembers it.
Right, but nobody brings up the fact that Denzel... Yeah. nobody talks about how Denzel Washington and George Clooney were on the same TV show. Like, you think that would be significant, right?
Kind of, I guess. I don't know. Because Denzel was in another medical drama, St. Elsewhere. That was his kind of really big first gig.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was with Howie Mandel.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cop.
I don't remember Mandel from that.
Let's see. I found E/R. It stars Elliot Gould.
Oh, you know what? I'm probably getting. I probably just got that confused because I just pulled up George Clooney and his filmography for. It wasn't Denzel on that show, but that show did have quite a few big names on there with Clooney.
Jason Alexander, George Clooney,
Pamela Segal,
Mary McDowell,
Elliot Gould.
Huh.
I was probably thinking of St. Elsewhere when I was.
You were probably thinking of Sherman Hemsley instead of.
No, I wasn't. But anyway, let's watch Return of the Killer Tomatoes for next week.
Right on.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
And for those people who want to see more of our show or learn more about our show, where do you think they should go? Mario.
What? Dude, fucking, I got nothing. Just go to mof.ninja.
Really? You couldn't think of anything?
I had nothing on that one, honestly, and I kind of hate myself for it.
You gotta be quicker on the draw.
I know. I thought you were going to go to Jamal this week because, we were going to try to make fun of him, and then just no.
I know. That's exactly what you thought I was going to do.
Plus, it would be a cheap shot considering how sick I am right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought he was going to go to you. But no, he had to be all nice and shit to you.
I'll give him a break this once. He'll get one. He'll get one a year. So if he gets sick, before May 4th, then fuck him.
Fair enough.
I would. You guys are awesome.
I would hope.
Okay. By the way, the one person that keeps commenting, other than your brother, is this Coffee Kane. Do we know who that one is?
I do.
Oh. You do?
I'm sure she lives very close, nearby, to one of us.
Is she a stalker?
I think you know who she is, Alex.
Why do you think I do?
Okay.
So for the makers of MOF.Ninja and everybody else that is included, including Coffee Kane and Alex's brother, which is Serious Deluge, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Well, here, just edit out that part about Coffee Kane. Let's keep our one good commenter still.
Why is Coffee Kane not a good commentator?
No. I said let's keep our one.
Shut up. Let me finish this up. I want to know who you're talking about. And my cats, because I accidentally just farted on one right now. Thank you all, and Jamal has the movie for next week, so if it turns out badly, we can blame him. Night.
Join the makers each week as they discuss film, TV, and pop culture. To learn more about them, go to mof.ninja. This is John Cleese saying goodbye.
All right, so who's this Coffee Kane that you're thinking of?
Yeah, Jamal, you said you know her.
Jamal?
Did Jamal leave?
I'm trying to remember her name. Winter? She worked on the text with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Mikey's old girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she would.
I thought her name was Winter Kane.
Yeah, just because her last name is Kane doesn't mean that she's gonna come up with something like that.
I just thought it was a weird coincidence.
I don't think it's her personally.
Okay. Again, just edit out all that part because she's been very loyal.
Well, yeah, that's why I try to finish the show first, and then we can start talking shit about our listeners.
Don't edit that part out.
Yeah, no, leave that part specifically in.
I'll
We're gonna start making fun of our listeners.
I'll throw that in at the end.
Yeah.